today we'll see ping axis. So ping axis, what is ping axis? Kind of basics only. So ping axis is also a product of ping identity, like uh, like any other products like ping federate, ping axis, ping one, ping directory, ping ID, intelligence governance. So like that, lot of tools are in ping federate, like ping identity software.
Okay.
So ping access is kind of an it's persons will ask like ping federate is there, so why this ping access, like that they will have some confusions. So ping access means like ping federate, like it's on the federation server and it provides authentication and they can able to access application, like that is ping federate. Ping
Mm.
access is totally kind of an web access management. So it comes with an ACL, like access control list, and then it acts as an policy like proxy server. Okay, let me explain you. So here, if you take, for example,
But even ping access have some protocols like the SAML protocol. It's mainly the web access management protocol, right? So even we use SAML in ping access.
yeah, wait, bro, I will tell you that. Okay, so this is the normal flow, bro. Okay, so this is, for example, user accessing from browser any web application. Okay, so for example, if you take this is some banking application. Okay, some banking application, and then it is exposed to like kind of in public. Okay, so this is exposed in public, and then users browser, from browser you are accessing the banking website. So in this is the traditional model. Okay, before ping access or anything, any other application, if you contact now from browser, you can able to access that banking application, and banking application will have some development code and all. It will have some list, so user list kind of thing. Users who are all present there, they can register there, and then they can access that application, like that only is the general flow. So this is the way it has been worked traditionally from last 5 to 10, 20 years, 25, like that it's been worked there. But why we are including another model kind of, right? So here, if you take example browser, and then banking, and then in between here, so here, if you take this example, this is where the ping axis come into picture. Look what happened. It is kind of an acting as a proxy. Okay. So proxy.
Before that, bro, tell
Yeah.
me one thing. So
Okay.
yeah, the first one, I mean, the user is accessing the bank application from the browser, right? So what is the public.com mean?
Public.com means its banking websites got exposed in the outside environment. So if, for example, some bank.com means, so it is straight away going to that bank domain. Okay, from browser, if you are straight away going to that server. It's simple as that. You are accessing browser and it's going to banking server, and you are accessing and you can doing the transaction. So that is what I mentioned as an public.com exposed IPs. Okay. Here, if you take an example, user is accessing from browser, and then it will don't go to banking application. Instead of that, it is go to in between a proxy, and then like ping access policy server. So here, uh, ping access act as a policy server, and then it will take all the restriction. Like for example, it allow only the authorized persons to access that application. So like that, in between it has been placed, and then backend of that ping access banking application we have been configured. Okay, so in this method, what advantage you have now? Public, whoever accessing or hackers or more security, because the browser, from browser they don't know where the server got placed, because in between there is a proxy server is there. So whichever application hacking anything happens now, it will stop here itself, proxy server itself. So backend banking server won't affected in any way, because the customer itself don't know where that server exists or not. It's all tampered kind of thing. So that is what the proxy like ping access policy server makes more secure in the application or whatever transactions you are making. So that is what the importance of the ping access. I understand this flow.
Yeah, I did understand, but So, I mean, we are creating a proxy server in between the bank server and the user, right?
Correct.
So,
So
what actually happens in the policy server, right? What are the things we can do over there so that in the back end we can configure the banking website, like we can access the banking website. What happens in this policy server?
yeah. That only, bro. Step by step training only. You asking straight away configuration means simple as that. Nothing there. We don't need to create one connection with ping access. That's it.
Okay.
Like PingFederate, you will create one connection, right, for making IDPSP. So same thing, ping access, you need to create one connection between the between the application side and then ping access side. That's it. It's such a way that is the answer. So this is the flow. You first understand the basic, okay? That technically that things and all anyone can do. If you go start working on that, now you can do that one. But the flow, the understandability of the product is much more important. Then only you can able to understand this one. So this is the importance of ping access. So I understand this one, right? Whatever I mentioned now.
Yes, bro.
Okay. Now, so you know proxy, what is proxy, what is reverse proxy, like that things and all you know, right? So how it will
Reverse
work.
proxy, no, I don't know.
Okay. Because you need to know that things and all, then only you understand more ping access.
Proxy is like a firewall, right, bro?
Yes, firewall or load balancer, not it's a firewall. What happened? It will restrict you from accessing the multiple application. So, for example, user is coming from browser. Okay, okay, you just understand now. The user is coming. This is browser. Okay. So now it's this proxy, bro. Normally, proxy is called as an forward proxy or proxy. Two things only is there: proxy, forward proxy, reverse proxy. That's it. Okay. So proxy means it's stay simple as that is forward proxy. They will make it as proxy. So what happened? How it will work? Now, suppose you are accessing something. Suppose you are accessing from school or any IT company browser. Now, they will always block list all the browser like YouTube.com and all. It won't work there. So YouTube, Facebook, like that things all they will work. It's allow only whatever permitted application like a company's application or any school means learning application. So that is what is called as proxy. It means like blocking all the sites, only allowing some whitelisting sites. That is called as proxy. Okay. And then reverse proxy means it's just a reverse of that one, bro. So proxy is works on the client end. Okay. Reverse proxy, it will be work on the server end. That's it. So server end means it will just act as a load balancer for that server. For example, if that application has been hosted in like multiple, suppose one application will be hosted in multiple servers, right? Because we have load balancer.
Bro, I can't hear you.
Bro, able to hear me now? Hello.
Yeah, bro, I can hear you now.
Okay. Sorry, bro. Not sure. I actually is having some hard disk issue. I ordered today. It will come. I think sorted out today. Okay. Just okay. Here, proxy means now you understand, right? Like what happened now? Suppose you are working from any school or any IT company means it will blocklist all the URLs, bro. Normally, you can't able to open YouTube or any other sites, public sites, Facebook, kind of things. It's only allowed only the allowed websites like some learning apps or any other thing company related application like that one. So that is called as proxy. Okay. Now reverse proxy means what happened now reverse proxy it is comes under like the like kind of a road balancer under the server side. Okay. So for example, users can come into public internet and they can access any application, but the thing is if you are accessing some application, that application has been loaded into multiple servers. For example, it's high-end applications and all have like 5 to 6 runtime nodes. It has been running on that. So they in that they will have some IP address, common IP address. So that IP address only it will be reached, and from there backend it will go to the client's request. So like that only reverse proxy will work. So it's kind of an
I didn't
proxy
get that.
means it's kind of an client side, and the reverse proxy means you can think it from the server side, like load balancer, for
I didn't
example.
get that, bro.
Okay.
I didn't go
Yeah,
with the
it's
flow. It is,
it's kind of a load balancer, bro. You can keep it and simple as that. So in high end applications and all you worked like for
so the,
example real time,
yes, I did. So
like
the load
worked
balance, like what it does, it
hmm.
sends. I mean, when the user wants to access some application, so when some server, when whichever server is free, the load balancers send the request to that particular server, right?
Okay, why load balancer need?
I mean, we can't send like too many requests to a particular server, right? If you have three or four servers, like one server is handling five requests, let's say. I mean, the other server is free, so the load balance helps send the request to the server which is free.
Okay, bro. Like you mean to say like why load balancer? I'm asking for application end. Think is generally. So why application side need load balancer? Failing it's a technical term. So you need generally. I'm asking why any application require load balancer. No issue, bro. If you not get it, okay. Just I'm
Right.
asked to understand ability.
Like I mean, like if an application application has like 1,000 users, like
Hmm.
if 1,000 users wants to access the application at at a point of time, like with only one server, we will be having a problem with that, right?
Yeah. That means like for example due to high availability, bro, the application is need to high availability. So for example, suppose some application is there, we need to access like American user, Australia user, Indian user, see it example. Okay, so these three locations they are accessing the same application, so some traffic should be routed, then only the application has to be reachability will be there, so users can't receive any failure happened in their end. Okay, so for that IIBA only, the load balancer like make is in between the user and the application. It plays as an virtual IP. So whoever accessing that IP, that load balancer will route the request to the particular runtime servers for that application. So that the runtime servers means same application replica copies in the all nodes. So for example, some application also have three runtime nodes, five runtime nodes like that. So high availability one. So simple as that. Reverse proxy also acting from application end. So you can't straight away access that application. In between that proxy will be there. You need to access that proxy. It in between it will route the traffic to that particular application server. So that is what I mentioned. So in public end they don't know where the server got hosted, where that application got hosted. They only know the proxy address of that application. That's it. Okay, so that is what the ping axis come into picture. So here ping axis and also okay, bro. So ping axis, this is what the ping axis role. As I mentioned, this is a policy server only. It's an identity enabled access management product. Okay, so you can make it an web access management. It's protect web application and API. So whoever it's a more security, and then it won't tell you where the server got hosted or where the APIs got restricted. So it's a kind of protecting APIs and security policies and access controls. So here for ping access, if you take an example, um, for ping access, it also uses PingFederate only for the authentication. Here, if you take in this example, I think it's some issue to ping. Okay, I'll tell you. Ping access, it also uses PingFederate and ping access. Hello, very noise hearing, bro. Hello.
I'll mute myself.
Okay, okay. So ping access, it's as I told you, ping access is a web access management application. So from user whoever accessing from laptop or mobile phone, any application, it will get protected using the ping access, and you can also protect APIs, web applications, any gateway application. So here in the ping access, there is two model applications will be there, bro. Okay, one is gateway model and another one is agent model. Okay, so gateway model and agent model. So gateway model only we mostly configure most of the application in gateway model only, like 60 like mostly 98 more than 80% I can say gateway model only. Agent model we don't that much now applications are using. So gateway model means normal our web application now how working like you told like SAML protocol or what. So that and all like kind of a gateway model only. So whichever accessing from browser anything, if you take an example, is called as gateway model. Agent model I as well not worked on agent model much, because agent model means the development side, code development and maintaining the code, everything will be little complex. For that only mostly whichever existing agent model also they are converting into gateway model in the in recent scenarios and all. So we can make it an example like that. Okay, so now we can see detailedly on how gateway model and agent model will we work on that things and all. So for we just I will keep in such a way that now you have like two model, gateway model and agent model. Okay, and for ping access I would want to say one thing. Ping access will use PingFederate only for authentication. It won't use any other tool. We can integrate identity manager. Like for example, same thing. You integrate in PingFederate. If you take an example, you integrate data store, right, for authentication purpose. Okay, like that. Uh, like that we can integrate, like that we can integrate PingFederate with ping access for authentication. So for example, user is coming from browser na, it will first they will hit the ping access URL. Okay, from ping access it will route the authentication to the PingFederate only. So PingFederate, the form adapter, like that things and all will come. So once you enter username and password na, it will authenticate and authorize you to ping access, and you can allow inside the application. So how these technical terms and all we can see in the later cases, like how we configure PingFederate with ping access, how it both work token, like after authentication what token it will be sent from PingFederate to ping access, using the token how ping access utilizing it and accessing this application. So that is and all we can see it out step by step later classes. So for now you understand baseline, right, like what is ping access and uh, uh, kind of what authentication it is using. So like that things if you get through now it will be well good, so that next sessions we can more things. Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Bro, is there any real-time explanation for this flow? Real-time example for this flow, particular flow you made.
Yeah, yeah, I can see. Yeah, yeah, we can that one we can need to create connection and then only we can see it, bro. Real time ping access means you can take an example. Gmail itself, a real time example only, bro. Suppose you are logging into, actually my laptop had some issues today. I will recover it. Okay.
Yeah,
Real time example now I tell you. Okay, just if you go to google.com, right, you accessing google.com and authenticating. So then new tab you are accessing Gmail. So for example, if I'm accessing Gmail, by accessing Gmail, okay, now I am not logged in. Suppose for example, if I logged in google.com, here if I signed in, if I signed in google.com means if I click on Google Gmail now, it will straight away go to Gmail. But Google, Gmail, YouTube are in separate things only. We all know it's all product of Google, but it's a separate product, right, in between them. Okay, so how you are authenticating with Google and it is accessing on the Gmail. So it's separately domain itself separate, right, it will comes Google is www.google.com, but the Gmail it comes under like www.gmail something like that. It's totally different things. Like for example, if you take youtube.com on means Gmail, and then you can access YouTube, right? So that proxy backend they have been inbuilt redirection and so on will be there. So that is called as real time. So like PingFederate, we can't see real time ping access. Ping access, it's kind of we itself we create connection, then only we can able to see real time. So simple as real time means you can take this example. You authenticating in Google and you can access YouTube. So it's totally different sites, but it's authenticating. It's kind of a proxy, because using Google using as an IP, you are accessing YouTube backend. So that's we can say. And then I think many applications are like that only, mostly using, but the flow I can't able to show you like PingFederate. We can see in our personal ping access. If you create now we can see that one. Like for example, we develop on Tomcat server. Okay, we install on Tomcat server, and then we can proxy the Tomcat server, and then if we hit our environment ping access now, it will reach to Tomcat server. So likewise we can test, no issue that on that. Okay. Bro, able to hear me? Hello.
yeah, bro, I can hear you. I'm muting myself because you're hearing a echo from my side.
Okay, bro. I think today, okay, no issue. We can have a session today evening also. Fine, right? Like 8 p.m. something like that. For in
Yeah,
my time, your time. I think morning.
sure, bro, no issues. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay,
8
okay. I can
p.m.
share.
means I think it will be